There are two ways to use the most powerful tool humans have ever built for thinking. One is to make life easier at every turn, hand off the reading, outsource the paper, bypass the difficult parts, and keep moving. The other is to take the same power and aim it at a problem that's been bothering you for years, something broken in your community, your work, your family, or the world at large. The former path helps you get through the day. The latter asks you what you might be capable of changing. Today, I want to show you how this plays out in the real world. We're going to look at what employers are starting to value, what one graduate did differently, and why that difference matters for the rest of us. 4 years ago, a class of freshmen arrived on campus just as ChatGPT entered public life. This past spring, they graduated into a workplace already being reshaped by the technology they learned along the way. The Wall Street Journal calls them the first class of AI natives. And the question is no longer whether they know how to use these tools. The question is whether they learned how to judge, think, and create with them. Without fail, that distinction has begun to matter in the working world. So first, what's changing in the workplace? Well, college graduates between 22 and 27 faced a 5.6% unemployment rate earlier this year, one of the highest levels since 2013, outside the early pandemic months. At the same time, some companies are cutting back on junior hires as they invest in AI platforms capable of handling entry-level tasks such as coding and assembling slide decks. But the story isn't simply that AI is closing doors. In fact, SharkNinja is hiring about 200 AI Ford grads and interns. Emma Kanjorski is one version of what that can look like. She studied business at the University of Vermont and stayed away from ChatGPT for much of college because she didn't want to cut corners. When she did start using it, she used it to make her way through dense financial reports and process data she needed to understand. By senior year, she was helping younger classmates test their case study work and showing a professor how to prompt AI to critique his own output. Her story matters because she didn't treat AI as an escape hatch. She saw it as something that could extend her reach as long as she remained responsible for the judgment. But there's another side to this. What happens when the tool starts replacing the difficult work that helps us learn? When AI does the work for you, the immediate result can very much look like a win. The paper's done and the deadline's met, and you've got one less thing to worry about. But ironically enough, learning is often hidden inside the part you're trying to avoid. Sorting through the information, getting stuck, changing your mind, and figuring out what you actually believe. Case in point, there was a RAND survey in which about two-thirds of college students who used AI for homework agreed that the technology was hurting their critical thinking skills. And that makes sense, right? If you outsource every difficult step, you may indeed get through the assignment just fine, but eventually life hands you something that won't be solved with a prompt, and you're left facing the part you kept giving away. Are you directing the tool, or is the tool doing the thinking for you? Psychologist Albert Bandura described the different forms of human agency, including personal agency and proxy agency. Personal agency means you set the direction and use the tool in service of a goal. Proxy agency means you pass the responsibility to someone or something and accept the result. AI makes proxy agency unbelievably easy. It can draft the email, write the essay, make the plan, and give you a convincing answer before you've had a chance to form a thought of your own. Now let's return to the other possibility, using AI to create more room for work that still requires human judgment. If you're willing to learn something new, that same AI-powered skill set we're talking about can also help you do something more ambitious. In today's workplace, AI-powered tools can help a designer speed up routine work while keeping specific decisions in human hands. They can help students analyze market trend data to identify possible new product lines. Kanjorski's professor, Rocky DeWitt, understood that the answer is not simply to ban the tool or pretend it's not there. She asked students to turn in their chat histories with assignments. Then she reviewed how they phrased prompts, what information they included or left out, and whether they fact checked their responses. She wanted them to be able to explain in an interview how they used AI as a tool of discovery and how they created value for a company. So, back to where we began. We've seen what changes in the workplace, what it looks like to use AI without giving away your judgment, and what can be lost when we let the tool do the thinking for us. AI can absolutely make the work easier, but what matters is what we choose to do with what it gives back: the time, the attention, the room to think. We can spend it avoiding the work that might shape us, or we can use it to look more closely at a problem we care about, bring our own judgment to it, and do something the tool could never decide to do on its own. Yes, AI can move us faster, but it can't choose the direction. That part is still ours.